I think the main difference is I'm not a huge fan of effleurage when it comes to pain relief. That piece, just flipping that one piece kind of changes the practice, but I think it's going to change it in ways that you're actually going to like. How many of you are having issues with your hands or arms?
Constant.
Okay, hold on. Let me flip cameras so they can see here that, yeah, like everybody raises their hand. So when you guys, is it just like too much pressure like on your wrists?
Wrist, yeah.
Wrist,
Everything in between.
Okay.
When I'm not massaging, I'm massaging myself. Constantly.
Yeah.
I'm constantly squeezing my arm.
Dee Dee, you have problems with your hands and wrists?
Oh, that's nice.
Dee Dee, why do you not have problems with your hands and wrists?
Time massage.
Because as curmudgeonly as I am, the shit actually works. Okay, so just lay down on your back. Just like you are, just slide off your shoes. I do this constantly with the clients, and I'll do the verbal intake. And what's your name?
Lena,
Hey, Lena, great. Listen, what did you come in for today?
fun.
Fun. Cool. I've never had anybody say that, but that's a good, I like that. That works for
And
me.
we're done.
So you need more work on your right side, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's more like in your arm and wrist?
Yep.
These little bitty wrists? These wrists are more petite than mine. Not by much, but a
They
little
can
bit.
pack a punch,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
And then how's all this in here?
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Pretty tender? Okay. So just to give me a little bit more space, the problem is this is a Skymat. And this Skymat is just a little too small. My mat is 8 foot by 8 foot. I can like walk around the client. The Skymat, different parameters. Can you scoot over to that side for me? As far as you can comfortably. There you go. And now I've at least created a little bit more space right here. Oh, how's that in there?
That feels great.
Okay. And I'm using my hands at first because this is what people are comfortable with. Like, I'm trying to get Bubba to take off his boots and get off the backhoe so I can work on him. And he's going to talk to me about, well, we took this hot water heater and smoked a brisket, you know, or whatever, did some welding. It's like, this is the context I'm in. How's that right there?
That feels
Cool.
good.
Is it too much pressure?
No.
Too sharp, anything? She's got her arm out here, and all I did really was just kind of feel muscle tissue. You guys do this all day. You know how to feel with your hands. This was just to like see where the issue was. Now I'm going to do the real work with other tools. Like, because I just wouldn't come in and, I mean, I could, but like, why would I put pressure on my wrists when I'm trying to show you guys how to take pressure off your wrists? Make sense? So I'm going to use my forearm on steroids on a Skymat. I'm going to use my forearm on steroids on a Skymat. Now, I'm just going to stack body weight. Is that a little too close to the elbow?
No.
Okay. Does that feel too sharp?
No.
Okay. Now, if I lean in, if I reinforce with this forearm right here, how's that?
Feels great.
Is the pressure too much?
No.
Okay. How does it feel on the extensor side, on the other side of the forearm?
I'm starting to feel it.
Starting to feel it?
Yeah.
Is it excessive?
I don't think so.
And for me, I want to clarify this for the client. I'm like, it can feel intense. That's fine.
Okay.
If you're like, woo, I'm aware of that. But if it's painful and you're like contracting, I just want to back off a little bit.
No.
Okay.
I can sleep.
Now, our lighting in here is not super great. But now I'm going to give her some active mobilization, myofascial, pin and stretch with my forearm on steroids on a Skymat. How's your thenar right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You found something.
And again, don't overwork your hands. I'm using my thumb. I'm just trying to explore the little pad there just to see. She was talking about her crabby claw in here. I'm going to kind of pinch from both sides. How's that?
That's good.
Okay.
It's light.
Now, a big part of this for me is essentially, even though I was grabbing the thenar, what I'm really doing is just mobilizing her hand and wrist. When I do this, what is that doing to forearm flexors? When I do this, what does it do to forearm extensors? Yeah. So it's a passive mobilization. Now in her case, because she's a therapist, she knows her body. What happens if you close your hand into a fist? What happens if you pull your fist up towards here? There you go. What happens if you, don't tell your boss, what happens if you give your boss the middle finger? There you go. And then extend your fingers out. And then what happens if your hand comes back this way? So for you, what feels like, oh, right there? Oh, what movement?
That one.
Right there?
Uh-huh.
Feels more beneficial? And do you prefer to do that for yourself, or do you like when I assist?
The assist helps.
Cool. Now, what I did is I just gave her a choice. Some clients are like, nope, I like to do it. Cool. Great. Other clients, let me assist and do it for them. Just like that. Do the fingers come out and back a little more? Too much?
No.
Do it again.
Now, how does your hand feel at the moment?
Like it's losing blood.
It's losing blood.
Yeah, it's tingly. Yeah, that's the word.
It's losing blood. I was a philosophy student. I'm thinking about that. So, I'm pretty pale one, kind of pink, right? Like, look at how jaundiced like her hand is at the moment. It's like it's losing blood, right?
Yeah.
So, any tingles,
Oh, so many.
numbness,
The pinky.
mainly in the pinky.
Yeah,
And then what about your like wrist and hand? How's it feel?
it's fine.
Okay.
Just the fingers.
So, big, broad compression. Does it look like I'm working hard?
Nope.
The clients do not care, I promise you, they do not care whether you work hard. They want it to be effective, that's all. Like, when they want more pressure, it's just because they're, I don't know, they want more pressure, and we're using all of our body weight through this, which is not like a good tool for like deep pressure, especially that's sustained. So do this for me just a couple times. There we go. And you let it rest. Right there. So you guys, and again, the lighting in here isn't super great. I just want you to look at her hand, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the reinforcement. I'm going to back off of this super slow because that compression is so deep. I want you to look at her hand and look at what happens as I slowly back off.
Wow. No more tails of the grip. God, that was crazy.
Now, the compression is deep enough, and I love this about these pants. If your boss is smart, they're going to get tie fisherman pants with this company's logo on it, and you could leave a logo right there. And after every client, you can take an Instagram photo for your marketing. How does that feel?
It feels better. Yeah.
So like move it around now, because I heard like a joint crack, and yeah.
Yeah, that feels a lot better.
How much work did I really do on the hand?
No, you barely touched. my
But
hand.
all the forearm flexors and extensors, where do they go? And cross the wrist joint. And you guys, you guys are mechanics. You're in there like working on people. I know you. I see you. I see you guys working on people. I know what you do. I know what you do. So the deal is, the forearm flexors, especially in this meaty junction, kind of in the top half of the forearm, super, super safe. When would you not do this? Like what I just showed.
If they've had like a recent surgery.
Yeah.
Amputee.
Now, if you're me, I'm like, I geek out. I'm like, turn on the cameras. I got an amputee. You got to document this, because I would communicate with them. But yeah, like especially if it's it's a fresh amputee.
Right.
Like no, you got to let stuff settle down. What about osteoporosis? Yeah, you guys know they had a stroke a week ago. Cardiovascular issues, right? Now, at the same time, you could say we manipulated soft tissue. What did massage school tell us about occluding major arteries?
Yeah, avoid that.
So like, you remember I talked about my friend and I did that video and I sat on them on their adductors? What do they tell you in school about occluding the femoral artery?
No,
Don't
don't.
mess with it.
Stay away.
So the frame of reference starts to come from the Skymat and having access to these tools. This is the biggest tool that you have. Now what happens when you get to use your knees, which are elbows on steroids? You get to use your forearm on steroids and your hands on steroids. And now you get to use multiple points of contact, including your tuchus. Because that's a pretty big, broad tool, right? The tools you use change how the work can be done, and that's part of the pushback is like, this guy's changing things. And I'm like, all of them just said their hands hurt. It's not something we want. So how does this arm feel compared to the other?
It's much better.
Yeah. So when I did that, by the way, was I right on my tibia?
Nope.
No, it was really this soft side. Like, now, if some of you have really tight hips and it doesn't quite work, we can help you figure out how to change it. You could see that I was securely like sitting on the table. I had her scoot, Lena, right?
Yeah.
I had her scoot over to the side so there was a little bit more room so I could come in. If I had to, would it be a problem for me to just come in with a forearm right here? No, it's the same basic thing, but why do I want you to get to use your arms more? No, I'm trying to pull you off of your arms like as fast as possible. So using this soft side of like tib anterior and the peroneals allowed me to, I mean, listen, how much, it covered half of her forearm. That's how big the tool is. When it occludes an artery, it's just a secondary component of like delivering some pressure. Did she ever once say, it's too much, it's too sharp, can't take this? And I communicate verbally, especially when I'm working with new clients or working with people in chronic pain. But this is a very different structure. And using this meant that I took pressure off of my hands. So I could do a little neck work at the end, right? They wasn't a big deal because I didn't use my hands the rest of the time. Do you guys want to try that?